Okay, hello. Welcome to a new Boostcom webinar. Today we're talking about loyalty, click and collect, and how we see these things working together. My name is Christian Norteme. I'm a commercial director in Boostcom. I've been working in Boostcom and working with shopping center loyalty and data management since 2004. For new people meeting Boostcom for the first time, I could say a few words. We are a company focusing on data management and shopping center loyalty concepts. We are one of few companies in the world doing this in a global perspective and focusing solely on shopping centers, trying to make solutions that fits within the framework that shopping center work with, which we find a bit different from for example, the retail environment, where they have more or less full control of the entire value chain. So I'll turn off the camera now and get going. Today we have a few topics that we would like to go through. Number one is why we believe that loyalty and click and collect is an important topic for the shopping center industry today. We want to go through what is being done by who today on e-commerce in the shopping center industry, and at the end we'll try to summarize how we see that data, shopping center loyalty concepts, and click and collect solutions will work together to create successful results for shopping centers and their owners. At the end, we will finish up with questions. On your right side of the screen, you should have the possibility to send in any questions as we move along. And of course, if you have comments or disagree with anything we say today, please let us know, and we'll get back to that at the end of the webinar. So in Boostcom, we see that the shopping center industry faces a few challenges. In kind of overall perspective, there's three major challenges as we see it. Number one is obviously the rise of e-commerce. E-commerce is growing rapidly across all continents and in all markets. And we see that a larger and larger share of the total retail spending is being done online. We know that shopping centers is fairly disconnected from consumers. Within the shopping center, we know that consumers is interacting with retailers. That's who they meet in person. We know that retailers do their own loyalty concepts. We know that retailers have the possibility to in a more extensive way than shopping centers track who is doing what. They can relate actual transactions with product information to each consumers and so on. And this leads us into the third major challenge, which is that shopping centers in general don't know very much about the consumer. We know how many who that are visiting our shopping center. We know when they're coming. But we don't really have a full overview one-to-one, who is doing what, who is our best customers, who is falling behind, who used to be a customer but is no longer shopping in our mall, and so on. And in Boostcom's perspective, we strongly believe that technology can help solve these challenges. We think that technology can help shopping centers more and more to connect with consumers, identify consumers, learn more about consumers' demographics, and over time also get specific insights on consumers' shopping behavior and preferences within the mall. And over time, this will also enable one-to-one marketing, gives shopping centers the possibility to be more relevant, more precise, and understand what the consumers want, when they want it, and how they want it, which leads us into the kind of third advantage technology can create. Doing this correctly, understanding what the consumer wants and being able to deliver on that will over time help you build loyal customers who prefer going to your mall instead of going to a different mall, or going to your mall instead of sitting at home shopping online. So shopping center have challenges, no doubt. Everyone in the industry knows, and the question that is being raised is that okay, will shopping centers die? Answer is obviously not. No, shopping centers will not die. Over time, shopping centers might change. We see new developments like this shopping center on the picture. It's Trinity Leeds from UK, who have built and developed a new shopping center. It's a great retail scene. They have an integrated cinema. They have a well-known food court, which is actually known outside of UK and Europe as well. And when the stores close at night, the shopping center changes and becomes a nightlife scene with a lively variety of restaurants, nightclub, bars, and so on. I think this is a great example on shopping centers developing over time, and it's kind of a clear answer to those who say that shopping centers can't survive in the digital universe. Yes, they can, but shopping centers are changing and consumers are changing too. In the beginning of this year, Mr. Tom McGee, which is the president of and CEO of ICSC, quoted that consumers are the drivers of demand, and they've made it clear they want more technology integrated into their shopping experience. And Mr. Tom McGee, as the president of ICSC, have a huge staff working on a daily basis to try to understand the shopping center industry, to understand and predict what the consumers are doing. And for him to highlight this is a good signal to the whole of the industry, both on the owner and operator side, but also on our side as a provider of services to shopping centers, that we just need to push on to make sure that we actually utilize and develop technology to improve every consumer's shopping experience. And yes, consumers, I don't think we need to discuss that. Consumers are a lot more digital. Consumer behavior have changed a lot. We know that consumers more and more start their purchase process from their home. We know that consumers are showrooming on their mobile, and in many ways the need for shopping centers to really adopt to new behavior has been kind of well known, and many have been trying to do something with it for a long time. And I think the importance is increasing and is getting more critical. But in general, looking at the digital evolution of shopping centers, saying that shopping centers becoming more digital is something we came up with this year or last year is not correct. Shopping centers have been working on getting more and more digital since the 90s, when they launched their first homepage around mid-2000s. Shopping centers start using email, mobile marketing, more one-to-one. They launched their own social media profiles late 2000s. The last few years, shopping centers have been working more and more on loyalty concepts, developing their own mobile apps, trying to obviously build more competence and insight and knowledge about consumers, and the ability to provide communication on platforms where the consumer actually is. And now, as we see it, we are very close to the next shift in terms of shopping centers' digital evolution. And in our perspective, it's a necessity for shopping centers to start thinking about how and when e-commerce is going to impact the way they work and the way they structure the digital resources. So everything that had been done on digital so far has obviously been important. It has taken us a long way. I think that things that are ahead of us right now, it's far more important in a long-term perspective, and quicker success is more critical. While you have had a few years to actually test and figure out how social media should be used to actually interact with the consumers in the best possible way. I believe that the shifts going on now in the world is kind of demanding that the pace is faster, and that we need to quicker find a framework to work within, which brings results and gives us the right answers earlier. So, and obviously in a world where shopping centers are and should discuss how to embrace e-commerce, it's a big question whether the consumer is there already or not. Beginning of this year, the International International Council of Shopping Centers, ICSC, made a big retail technology survey. It was conducted in the US market, making a selection of consumers, basically providing us information about the average shopping center consumer in the US. And those findings were, as I see it, very interesting. 3 out of 4 consumers, about 73%, have already used a click and collect service. Looking into the UK market, which is known for being ahead on e-commerce, 1 out of 3 consumers actually use click and collect solutions on an ongoing basis, at least once a month. Looking at millennials as a target group, which is obviously in many cases early adopters, 87% have used a mobile phone to do a click and collect purchase. And in general, 71% of the consumers asked in that survey had a retail app on their phone. And again, 74% of those use it once a week. So it's kind of fair to conclude that consumers is already there. And while it maybe took some time before the majority of the consumer were on social media and the majority of consumers were connecting to loyalty, I think we are in a situation now where shopping centers need to bring a solution into the market where consumers are already waiting and expecting a service on the next level. So moving over to looking more into, okay, what's out in the market today and how is it done. This is not a complete market report. It's a few examples of what's out there today. I'm sure there are others as well, but this represents different ways of doing e-commerce for shopping centers. The first one here is Into in the UK, who owns and operates several major malls in the UK market. They have chose to create a solution where they basically index all products available within the retailer of the shopping center that have an e-commerce solution. So they basically back-end connected to the retailer's e-commerce solution, and you'll get the live pricing updated on the web page and so on. If you as a consumer would like now to actually buy one of the things you can find on the web page and click on a product, you will be sent into the retailer's homepage. So the product is indexed, you'll get the price within the shopping center environment, but as soon as you actually want to do a transaction, you're sent over to the retailer's homepage to finish and complete the transaction, which also means that in the shopping center perspective, it's not necessary that you actually visit the shopping center to go collect your product. It's a clean-cut e-commerce solution. A different way of doing it is this. This is a shopping center, Alsertal in Hamburg. It's owned and operated by ECE, which have a big innovation lab and are working hard to come up with new digital solutions to make malls more digital. In this case, as Into did, they are displaying products. In this case, we see some sunglasses. So all products available in the shopping center is indexed on the shopping center's homepage. When you would like to reserve a product, in this case it's not possible to buy it directly on the web page. When you would like to reserve the product, you'll click on the product, you confirm your reservation, you give your name and number to the system, and then it's actually being sent a confirmation back to the consumer that, okay, thank you for your reservation. We will now check whether the product is available in store or not. So you get the confirmation on the email that is work in progress. At the same time, I don't know the backend, but I assume at the same time a message goes to the retailer, which then needs to actually check their stock and confirm back that yes, the product that this consumer wants to reserve and collect within the shopping center is available. And in this case, when I tried to reserve, it was available. It took 19 minutes from my first reservation until I got the confirmation that the product is ready to be picked up within the specific retailer within 24 hours. And a different way of doing it, and a solution that have a wide distribution both in the UK and in other markets, is a click and collect solution where you actually within the shopping center homepage list retailers that have a click and collect functionality on their homepage. So on this list you will find then all the retailers that have the possibility to do a click and collect purchase. And in this case, when clicking on the retailer, you will be sent to the retailer's homepage. You will find all the products, you can reserve the products, but at the same time, you can choose any pickup point you want. In this specific case, there are more than 600 stores that can be selected, and I see it as a quite big risk for the shopping center, sending the consumer out of the shopping center homepage into a retailer's universe, where you might risk that the consumer is either choosing to get the product sent home or chooses to pick it up at a different location, which in both cases means that there were no additional visits to the shopping center, there were no additional revenue spent in the shopping center that originally got a web page visit from the consumer. And taking it even a bit further is the things we see coming in right now. I think the first Amazon pickup point were launched now in shopping malls just a few months ago. And this is a clean-cut solution where you give consumers the possibility to pick up products they have bought online on Amazon within the shopping center. Very convenient for consumers. It should be a great way of driving more traffic into the shopping center. Obviously, the leasing department will be very happy. It makes it possible to lease out the area, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to lease out otherwise. In general, I see a lot of challenges with these solutions from my perspective. First of all, you're very much a competitor to every retailer within the shopping center. Either the retailer has an e-commerce solution themselves or not. And we know that retailers are very much aware about their local competition situation. So I haven't heard anything from the industry on this yet, and it will be very interesting to follow the reactions from consumers, from retailers, and obviously from Amazon and other vendors that chooses to place their pickup points within the shopping centers to learn how this actually influences the shopping center environment. So to summarize a bit, we have a few important considerations for shopping centers that want to move towards e-commerce. Number one, I think it's important to remember that the consumer is the main asset of the shopping center. So when a consumer chooses to visit your homepage or your mobile app or any other digital platform, it is a shopping center asset that needs to be capitalized. So in my perspective, sending a consumer from your homepage into a retailer's homepage without having any kind of compensation is a big risk in terms of actually converting the shopping center web page visit to a shopping center visit, and B, you're transferring value that should belong to the shopping center to the retailer. I think number two is that consumers visit shopping centers for many reasons, obviously, but one of the most important is the ability to cover different demands in one place. I think whatever you do on digital and whatever you do on e-commerce, it should embrace that fact that you need to be able to shop in as many stores as possible over time. You need to, in many ways, recreate the shopping center environment digitally as a starting point for the actual physical shopping center visit. And also remember in this specific case that when working digital, when working with e-commerce and click and collect solutions, shopping center experiences are far more than just picking a product and take it home. So everything you do should also empower restaurants, experiences, and so on. So don't forget to bring in your restaurant services, cinemas, and so on when you're planning to do anything on e-commerce and click and collect. So in Boostcom, we have a few success criteria as we discuss this topic a lot. And number one is that we think it's necessary, obviously, to consolidate content from retailers, but as I said, always keep the consumers within the shopping center digital space. So please refer to retailers, get products, get content, get pictures, and so on, but never send the consumer back to the retailer. Make sure that everything the consumers do on a digital platform is within your shopping center environment. Try to provide the consumer with the same experience as in the physical environment. Obviously solve problems, but also try to encourage impulse shopping, trying to encourage inspiration, and giving the consumer a bit more than he expected when visiting the web page or the mobile application. And the last part, we think it's wise to keep the actual money transaction within the physical shopping center. We think that these solutions should, in general, drive more footfall and increase sales in the physical center. I don't think getting a digital transaction on an e-commerce platform should be the number one priority for the shopping center. Rather, using the digital solution and e-commerce platform to drive more traffic and sales in the shopping center is, as we see, is the key thing to solve. So back to the actual topic of today, how loyalty will possibility enable click and collect in the shopping center environment. And as we see it, shopping center loyalty has traditionally been driven by price offers or other kind of benefits to people who opt in. It's basically a trade. Shopping centers provide offers and benefits, and in return, the consumer gives consent to the shopping center to receive email, mobile messaging, and allow the shopping center to store and use behavioral data. This has evolved a lot more now the recent years with mobile apps coming where you could include even more benefits and functionality. We know that beacons technology and Wi-Fi integrations make it possible to see who is doing what within the shopping center. We know that parking is more and more becoming an integrated part of the loyalty concepts. And we know that the knowledge that shopping centers are getting from loyalty is also influencing everything else they're doing on digital, like using specific consumer data to improve performance on digital display advertising. So to be very specific on how we see that having a strong loyalty concept will help create success for click and collect, there's three different areas. Number one is reach. If you have succeeded today on building a comprehensive loyalty concept, you will have a substantial database, you will have a substantial channel where you can reach consumers directly on a digital platform. You will know a lot more about consumers than the average shopping center. Obviously, from day one, you got information about the consumers' demographics. You knew their name and number and age and where they live. And in recent years, we have learned more about their shopping behavior. We learned more about how they move around in the shopping center, how they relate to other digital platforms when they visit the homepage, and so on. And the third part is that in many cases, you also have the platform up and running, used by consumers, adopted, and ready to be utilized to take the next steps towards e-commerce and click and collect. So, as an example, this is a shopping center in Northern Europe, in Norway. This specific shopping center is located in an area with a catchment area population of 89,000 people. Out of the 89,000 people, they have a loyalty database consisting of 42,000 people. So close to half of the population in the catchment area is actually a part of the loyalty concept. They have 36,000 downloads of their loyalty applications. And during last year, 2016, more than 80,000 redemptions on offers of benefits offered to members were conducted. It means that they have the reach. They can reach out to 42,000 members in their area. They have the platform. More than 36,000 people have downloaded and used their mobile application. And they have a lot of data on who is doing what related to the loyalty concept, with 80,000 redemptions, providing information back to the shopping center on store preferences and other kind of purchase behavior that is important to understand when you want to extend the digital solution towards the consumer. So moving forward in this perspective, Boostcom really see e-commerce and specifically click and collect as a great way of developing customer loyalty concepts to be even more value creating for consumers. We know and feel confident, at least, that loyalty solutions can secure distribution. It can help you on relevance, and over time make sure that you actually get traffic to your solution. On our side, we're right now about to scope the first solutions for click and collect. When we do this, we want to integrate it as a part of our data management and loyalty platform to make sure that everything we're doing on data management and everything we're doing on loyalty will, on one side, strengthen the e-commerce and click and collect solutions, and on the other side, make sure that everything we can learn from click and collect and e-commerce is then being transferred back to the data management platform and used for later and even better approaches towards the consumer. So in our perspective, and this is a very simplified picture, but this is how we see this fitting together on a technical level within the shopping center industry. So starting on the left side, you need to get the information from the retailer. You need to know what is the product you have in your store, what is the stock, what is the sizes, what is the colors, and so on. You can do that by basically two different methods. Number one is that you do an integration towards the retailer's e-commerce solution to index products that are already in place on their side. The other solution is that you provide a solution to the retailer to have them actually upload and publish product information. It could typically be providing an iPad or providing them any kind of digital device where they can upload and manage products on their side. In many cases, a shopping center would need to do both over time. As a starting point, having retailers uploading their most popular products to give consumers the opportunity to reserve the things that the most people are looking for could be a good starting point. All products will then be transferred into a CMS where the shopping center management teams obviously need to edit and make sure that everything published is according to the quality level and the variation you would like to have. And then all products are going through the Boostcom recommendation engine, and this is where you actually connect data from the loyalty and data management platform to make sure that the consumer get the most relevant experience possible. Which means that, let's say, looking at Westfield in London, if you want to go into clothing and accessories for men, there's 140,000 products coming up from that specific shopping center. So you need to have some kind of mechanism that help the consumer to find what they're looking for, and also help the consumer by suggestions, because we think we know and have a lot of information about what the consumer actually prefers. From the recommendation engine, data is being forwarded to the mobile application or any other digital device. We think if you have a strong loyalty application in place, it's a great place of offering the consumer to do the click and collect reservation. And basically all products within the shopping center needs to be available to support the actual shopping center experience, but it's important that everything you do is based on relevance. It's important that everything you do is based on what we know about the consumer, so it's always feels relevant, and it's easy for the consumer to find the right products and other things he would like to buy. So to summarize this slide, I think the combination of loyalty, DNP, and the recommendation engine is basically what makes a big difference for shopping centers doing e-commerce and click and collect. This is where the data layer and loyalty concept really create an added value, and this is where shopping centers have the ability to do things differently than retailers. Every retailer knows a lot about their specific consumers, while shopping centers have the ability to consolidate data from several retailers within shopping centers and can over time create a better and more integrated experience. So how to take this further? What's kind of the next steps? And to simplify it a bit, I have created 5 steps towards your e-commerce or click and collect solution. Number 1 is obviously find the right technology, a technology that can be integrated and supported by the current digital setup you have. So if you have a strong loyalty concept in place, you should do something on e-commerce and click and collect, which is very much integrated with the loyalty setup. You need to define a consumer USP. It's naive to think that as long as you provide products available for reservation online, you will get a lot of traffic. So you need to provide a USP towards the consumers. Why should the consumer actually want to interact with your shopping center webpage or app to do a click and collect purchase? And in my opinion, yes, relevance is important. There's also other ways of doing it. You could reward consumers for doing that. You could provide specific offers. You could provide consumers the ability to click and collect products that are not available for other consumers, and so on. It needs to be different from shopping center to shopping center based on tenant mix and market situation and everything else. Also important, I wouldn't go to all tenants at the same time doing this. It's step by step. Make sure that you involve key tenants from the beginning. If it's 5, 10, 20, or 40, it will be different from shopping center to shopping center, but create a selection of key tenants that you think have the ability to support a click and collect solution and that are already known to be early adopters within the shopping center. And as I said, yes, it would be very good to integrate with the tenant's e-commerce solution to get all products available from day one. As a more quick win solution, it could be smart to upload specific important and popular products to test how and what the consumers actually do with this when they are interacting with the shopping center on a digital platform. Also important, number 4, make sure that you create a scalable working process. Shopping centers have limited resources locally. We can't create a concept where shopping center management teams need to constantly follow up, run around, maintain and run the operations. So we need to find a way of working where 95% of operations are done automatically and on a digital tool that helps on both communicating and serving a solution. And as always, make sure that you test. You need to launch, evaluate, adjust, and keep on going. I don't think click and collect and e-commerce for shopping centers will kind of be something that is not relevant in a few years. So everything you do now will be important learning for what is to still to come. Okay, I think that's kind of the key things I would like to discuss today. I have received a few questions. If you still have questions you haven't sent in, please do that quickly. Okay, so question number one is, why should we have click and collect in the shopping center when you can get it more and more in retail groups? And I think that's a very relevant and good question. My answer to that is the shopping center needs to take a digital position. The shopping center need to capitalize of their main assets, which is the flow of consumers. So in a situation where retailers more and more interact with your consumers directly, you will be less and less important. And as I said, as a shopping center, you have the ability to consolidate products and data from a huge amount of tenants, while specific retailers only have their existing consumers, which in many cases are a group of the total populations. And the next one here is, okay, how realistic is it that retailers will be a part of click and collect in a shopping center? And that's a very good question. Based on the pilots we have seen now around the world, it looks like retailers are very positive. From Boostcom side, we interact a lot with retailers, helping shopping centers with loyalty concepts. We have received very positive feedback that this is something they really see as important for them. They realize that yes, they might succeed on their own, but will also be very positive to get traffic and e-commerce or click and collect transactions from the shopping center environment as well. And one more question here is, how complex customer loyalty program do you need to have to succeed with click and collect? Do you need to have one at all? Yes and no. I think yes, if you have a customer loyalty concept in place today, if you have a consumer database, if you have a data management platform that helps you really understand your consumers, you have the best possible starting point when you want to move things further. On the other hand, it's not like it's too late and it's just to surrender if you do not do anything on loyalty today. It would be a bit harder starting point, but everyone needs to meet this challenge. So then it's on time to start doing something. And last question I received now is, do you think it's likely that consumers will reserve and pay for the product before going to the shopping center? Yes, I think it's likely. I think it's likely that consumers that actually are able to identify the product they have been looking for online will reserve it. I think consumers, as they are going to the physical mall anyway, I think consumers would prefer to pay it when in store, after they have tried on the shirt or whatever they're buying, to kind of make the purchase process as less complex as possible. And I think that's a good solution for everyone involved, given that we always want to get the consumer in the physical mall or shopping center at the end. Yes, no more questions. Then I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Please visit our homepage, boostcom.com, or contact us if you would like to know more about customer loyalty and on what we are doing specifically now on click and collect. And otherwise, I'll just wish you a great day.